Hey, what's up, YouTube? Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, this is my friend. I didn't tell you who it was, but we call him Z.
Zdenek.
How do you pronounce it?
Zdenek.
Zdenek?
That's it.
Zdenek.
Perfect.
Whoa. Yes. No.
My wife always says, your name is a perfect example for you to know who's educated and who's not. If somebody can say it really good, like the first time, educated person.
Zdenek.
Yes! Yeah, some people, and I was like, Zane? They just would not say it.
That is so cool, though. Okay, so you're married. I just want tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from? When you were born, parents, whatever comes to the top of your head, doesn't matter.
Well, I was born in Czech Republic, 1975. So my birthday coming up, January 15th.
Yeah. And I told him happy birthday.
Thank you. And I have a mother and
You have a mother? No,
still father. But I grew up actually with I had a stepdad because my dad died tragically when I was 5 years old.
Oh,
So it was on a job accident. So he worked as a miner underground. You know, they collect coal.
Cool.
And
the
there
Czech
was
Republic?
yes, it's big actually, big industry, big job.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And they export the coal all over the world, I think. But it was just a explosion. Happened something because it's very dangerous. Those jobs are very dangerous. And it's just it was 1980, and then I was growing up with a stepfather, and I have a sister, and she's married. She has kids. They have a house. I live in Czech Republic, and actually, I discovered because of the internet and Facebook that I have two aunts that I've never even knew that I
Are you serious?
had. Yes.
In the Czech Republic?
Czech, yes. Two aunts. One of them contacted me, about the name. She says, this name is very unusual because that was my dad's name. And I said, well, I had a dad, but he died, a long time ago. And he said, well, we kind of talked. And it came down to that her dad was actually my grandfather. That would be the father of my father. But I never got to, because when he died, I never got to know that part of the family. And now I discovered, through the internet, that I had another aunt, and we talked, so it's matched. Yes, well, and I have a sister, so you have two aunts, and we have kids, so you have 5 cousins.
Holy
And I never got to know them there because we just discovered that last year, and I haven't been in my country yet. So next time I visit, it's like we all have
When
to
do you think you go
leave.
back?
So probably maybe this year.
Oh, for
After
real?
summer, hopefully, yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. Holy cow. That's very similar. Actually, Brett and I this morning went upstairs and I was going through some old paperwork that I have, like my nationalization papers, which by the way, I was nationalized in 1980, and I became an actual nationalized citizen here. But I was born in the Philippines, adopted, brought to the States, and I just found this out literally 6 months, in January of 1976. I just found this out, and it's kind of similar because I found out that my biological mother, nothing is traumatic as yours, but my biological mother had given me up for adoption, and I didn't know really too much about her, but I just now found out that she was 23 when she had me, and that I have somewhere out there either 1 or 2 other siblings from her.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
And
pretty
now you're
cool.
in the contact.
No, I literally just found that out this morning.
Okay. Oh, now this morning. Okay. Wow.
I know.
Man, similar story.
Exactly.
See the attraction? It's working in the universe.
Exactly.
I was just going to talk about it with, later in time about, as everything is based on law of attraction, how we attract certain things to us, based on our thoughts and what we feel.
I agree.
There's no accidents,
So do you agree that if you put stuff out there into the universe, if you will, it comes back to you?
Absolutely, and it depends on if you're passionate about it. It happens even faster.
Exactly.
So that's when the amazing things happens to us, where we can do there's just so much power in us, that we can use for the good. That's why, being in the positive mood and be always keeping those good thoughts is very important, because, door swings both ways. If you have those negative thoughts and you're always thinking something wrong and, this and that, then you will attract just bad things into your life, and people too, it was like, why did I meet this person, it's like, bad client, bad, well, you did it,
I agree with
just
you.
redirect your thoughts and that it will happen.
That is what, you have the stereotypical, and I hate this terminology, meathead.
Mm-hmm.
People like us who go to the gym and, we hit it hard and we want to make ourselves better for us, not for the world to see. If they happen to see it, awesome. If that inspires them, that's my goal. So I want to inspire people. But when I first met you, I'm not going to lie, I was intimidated. I was like, oh my gosh.
It happens to me a lot. That's why I have a hard time getting some clients, I was like, training, I was like, oh my God, it's scary.
No, but getting to know you, just talking to you, just literally walking up, hey, how are you? What is your name? Mm-hmm. You are just such a genuinely sweet person.
Thank you.
Human being. And that honestly, if you guys meet him, he shatters the stereotypical I'm a big guy, And I appreciate that. So this whole segment is about going through trials and tribulations in your life and how you persevered through them. How did you get over that? Like people being like intimidated by you, or like when you get clients and stuff. How do you? What do you do?
Just like you just said, when I start to talk and express myself, and my feelings and my thoughts, they kind of now feel a little bit better about it and don't feel as like, oh well, this. He said something, I feel worse now. So yeah, just speak up a little bit and be, a gentleman and show the good part, positive part, and that people now start feeling more comfortable. It's just about making them more comfortable, because if they first get to, like you said, they see me, look at me, they feel intimidated, but then when I make them feel more comfortable, it just changes things.
So in the bodybuilding world, I was looking at your information here on your Facebook site. A lot of the videos that you have in there, there's one in particular. It was episode 1. You guys got to check that out. Episode 1, Awakening. It just spoke volumes to me, but then it just made my mind just wonder. You washed your face and then you looked up. You had this amazingly intense look on your face. What were you thinking? Do you remember that clip?
This is what... yes. Yeah, well, I made it, so...
Well, yeah.
I think I do. So, this is the beginning of the day, and that pretty much triggers how your entire day goes by, okay? So, the start of your day is very important. So, when I look at myself in the mirror, I just want to say to myself, you're great. Today is going to be a great day to do great things. It can be blizzard outside. It could be my heater just broke, or something happened, but I'm not going to allow those things to, start my day feel, oh my God, that's terrible outside, because that's already going to trigger that little bit of that, shift of emotions, and then that can further progress into my day. I can walk outside and now I have a flat tire. So great, fix that. I drive to my work and I'm gonna hit a red light on every crosswalk, or something's gonna happen, So I just wanna kind of block that And
How though? How do you block
just
that?
just thinking, just with your thoughts, just keep your thoughts positive. So I look and I see you're great. Today is gonna be a great day to do great things. You say the word great 3 times. And then you just go from there, everything's gonna be good. As long as I don't allow anything, to change my mood and the emotion, it's gonna be all good.
So you pretty much feel the same way I do, is that nobody is in control of your emotions. You cannot, nothing has value until you put a title to it, or until you put a name to it, like fear, or like somebody says, okay, Z, perfect example, you made me feel intimidated. It's like, no, you didn't make me feel intimidated. I allowed what I saw of who I thought you were, I allowed myself to be intimidated. You didn't do that. I did that. So is that kind of how you feel about that? It's like, that flat tire didn't make me have a bad day. I choose to say it's a bad day.
Yes.
Okay.
You're in control. That's what this is all about.
So even like whenever, the other day we're talking about, oh, and by the way, thank you very much for letting me record you and post it. Injuries. How do you overcome that?
I'm sorry, what?
Injuries?
Oh, injuries. Well, I have suffered a lot of injuries, yes, from training, actually. I'd never, well, thank God, I've never been in any car accident or anything like that, disaster. It was just training, and 2003, I broke my hip. That was from doing heavy squat. It was only 500 pounds, but I was doing 8 reps with it.
How much?
And 500. That's not that much, trust me. There are guys out there squatting more than that. There's 1,000-pound squatters, and I think 1,200 is the world record. But I was doing reps with it. I did 8 reps with 500 pounds deep, and I just broke my hip on the last rep. And in 3 places. So then I broke my arm 2010 from benching. That was 700 pounds. I almost locked the weight out, and just my radius cracked, and my ulna got dislocated. And I've always kind of keep calm. Even when it happened to me, I'm not panicking. I always stay kind of like in positive mood, and I just went to the hospital. I got myself fixed and checked, but I think just thinking good and positive, I healed myself, I had to have a surgery on this arm though.
Yeah.
But
so just being positive, that's what's helped you.
Yes,
to
everything
heal.
everything in your mind, just keep it in there, and you will get healed.
Wow.
So my hip that I broke, I actually never got anything done on there, because when I went to the emergency room, the doctor kind of quickly checked me and told me I had a partially torn hamstring. So I'm okay. Well, I just wheeled me out of the hospital, and I'm walking, 6 months, limping. And I'm thinking, why am I still limping? I went to a specialist orthopedic. He X-rayed me and told me I had a broken hip.
So for 6 months you didn't even know?
No, and I was out of the hospital. I was at home. I was on the crutches few weeks, but I'm thinking, see, this is exactly in my mind. I never knew it's broken. I thought it was the hamstring. So I'm overpowered myself. 1 week I was already without the crutches, kind of limping, but there was the power that I had in my mind, thinking it's not broken. I convinced my body, myself, that it's because if I knew it's broken, I wouldn't even dare to step on my foot. So I'm like, oh, what are you doing? It's broken. You can't walk on that. But
So you psyched yourself out. So
because I kept thinking it's just a partially torn hamstring. It cannot affect me walking. But I could not walk for the first week because it was really bad. So I was crutches. But after that, I kind of just got better, and then started walking more and limping. And then I found out what happened. Then I started taking, like
a little bit more caution, like that.
And I never had any physical therapy done. It was just me. I healed myself. So. And
you're not recommending somebody
No,
to
I just had it done. I had another X-ray done, and everything is properly fused. The bone is fine because you broke in 3 places, so it's all aligned. It's all healed properly. My arm was the same. I was after the surgery. I had a cast, and then I was like, they removed the cast few weeks after that, and my stitches, and I remember they were going to give me some medicines and all this. It's okay, I'm fine. I'm just gonna take ibuprofen, And I went home from the hospital. They wanted to stay me in a hospital longer. I said, I'm fine after the surgery. I'm out of here,
Oh my.
So.
Wow. Yeah, you're.
And but again, the most important part about the injuries, and again, the power of the mind and your thoughts. Like I said, you can work for you, or you can make it work against you. In my case, I remember clearly when it happened, prior to the injuries, when I was squatting, doing all that, the pressure, and I had these thoughts always like, oh my God, this is heavy, this is hard, I feel the pressure, something's gonna happen, I had that thought several times.
How did you get over that?
I was just trying to ignore it, but the thought was like appearing over and over again. And a few months after that, boom, there goes the hip. Same thing with my arm. I had some little problem with my arm, so I went to my friend, and they did an X-ray. They said, well, it was negative. It doesn't seem like there is any problem, but I had some funny pain in my wrist. They were X-raying it, nothing was showing that there would be any problem with it. And my friend, she just told me, the doctor told me, maybe you just have a little like a stress fracture, but it doesn't show on the X-ray, so it's not microscopic. And but I was fine with it, as long as they told me there was nothing major. But it stayed in my mind when she said you have a stress fracture. Then I was thinking, every time when I was training and benching, I had this thought.
You were self-prophesizing.
What are you doing? You have a broken arm. You have they told you have a fracture in your arm. What are you doing? But I just kept pushing myself because that's how I am. I don't like to quit. I just keep doing it. That's something feels funny. I keep pushing it. And but the thought of it's broken, then made it happen. So it's like, how do you explain that? It's like if I didn't have that thought, I don't think it would happen.
What would you recommend? Because you have to look at. There's obviously the body mechanics. Just the biological aspect of it, and then you have the mental aspect of it. How do you do that? How do you balance that? For you, how do you do that for you?
Well, it's again, it all starts in your mind. So whatever you visualize and you think in your mind, your body will just basically follow that vision and the thought that you're doing. So when you work out, when you exercise, it's all based on your thoughts. How you're thinking.
Because
like all
of these injuries were wow.
Yes, it's but like I said, I think it wasn't the heavy lifting. It wasn't. It was just me. It was me in my mind, in my thoughts. That's why it's important just kind of exercise, your mind in a positive direction, and always try to think it's gonna be good, and stay positive.
Okay, I like that way.
It takes a little time, but I think as long as you're on the track and you just do this every day, kind of like you want to do it with passion. You don't want to have it done as like a chore. When you wake up in the morning, you say, okay, I'm going to be positive about grabbing this bottle. I'm going to be positive about tightening my shoes, and just feel that, feel that, go through your day, everyday life, and be grateful for everything, you have done, and you have, and that also helps to elevate that positivity, gratitude.
Yes.
So when you show gratitude,
yes,
it's like every time you do something, you just show gratitude for what you have done.
Who was it? A huge person who influences me are two people. One was Zig Ziglar. I don't know if you know who that is.
Sounds familiar.
And then Tony Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Robbins had something in one of his seminars where it said, turn your expectations into appreciations. Mm-hmm. So you appreciate things instead of expecting. Like you coming over here. I didn't expect you to come over here. I was appreciating that you even were inclined to entertain the idea of doing that for me. And I mean, your way of thinking is just in line with mine, but it's taken me a long time to get there. Because like you, I mean, I've had a lot of tragedies in my life, and it takes a toll on you, like with all of my health issues. I don't even know if I told you that, but I have a genetic disorder called left isomerism.
Oh, okay. I know about your gastro.
The GERD, yeah. I have the GERD, but I also have, it's called left isomerism, and it's basically a genetic disorder where I have multiple spleens. I have 5 spleens. I had to have an emergency hysterectomy. I had 2 uteruses. Yeah, no.
Wow.
My liver is enlarged and bilateral. And, you know, the liver, it's one lobe is here and then one's here. Mine's in the center. And mine would probably fit in you. It's huge. Wow. And I just recently, in June, found out that my gallbladder is small. It's undersized, and I have a malrotation of my intestines, meaning they're backwards. Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can't take supplements. Because for some reason, I don't know why, but my body turns it into a false positive for methamphetamines. And I literally, when I was hospitalized back in June,
You mean when you take something, it will metabolize
it
into
metabolizes to where it gives a false positive for methamphetamines. And
must be your enzymes or something.
I don't know, but I went to the hospital back in June, and this intern specialist, she was an intern, but she was a specialist, and she goes, it really made me mad. But she came in, and she literally, at first thing, she goes, okay, according to your test, when was the last time that you did math? I was like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, when was the last time you did math?
Shocked.
Yes. And I was like, I've never done drugs except for what was prescribed to me. And then the last internal specialist I saw, who actually overseen all of them, he came in and he said, what have you been taking lately? And I said, well, I take a lot of supplements because I weight train. And he goes, no more. Any nutrients that you get, you need to get from your food.
Yes. Because everything over the counter is, wow.
But then comes GERD. Salmon is great
now you have to avoid certain meals too.
So that's where, for me, you have helped me because I get, I don't want to say depressed, but I get discouraged because it's like my weight is constantly fluctuating up and down, and my doctor put me on some medication to help me lose the weight. And this is because of all the organs that I have no room for any visceral fat. So I actually look forward to seeing you in the gym because, and even now more so, knowing your story, it gives me hope. It gives me like, okay, if he can do this, I can do this. And then seeing your wife there with you, supporting you, that's amazing. That's amazing for me and my husband, you know, because you have to have that supportive background. But there was one question I wanted to ask you is, why did you choose America? Because I saw in your interview, your IFBB, I think it was the first show that you did for the IFBB. And you said you came to America to pursue your IFBB.
No. I wasn't even involved in competing yet. I was just like, you know, every teenager, you know, you see something, you fall for it. And mine was, I joined the gym when I was 17, almost 18 years old, and started exercising. It's still in Czech.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, still in Czech. And muscle and fitness magazines, that's all we had. There was no internet, so we couldn't look at anything. That was 1993.
Yeah.
here, you know. So
Yeah.
there was none of
There
such
was
a
nothing
thing.
like that.
And just get informations and get inspired was just books and magazines, you know. And but every month, Muscle and Fitness magazine, I was just so excited running to the store because I knew it's the time, and start browsing. Where's Arnold? Where's Arnold? Because first I was always inspired by Arnold. You know, it was crazy.
Everybody,
and watching the stories, and I've liked read everybody's stories and watch the bodybuilding in general. But Arnold was always the biggest inspiration for me. And me and my friend, we were working on my partner training together, and then we reading, how Arnold and Frank when they moved to America, there was a big story on that, and living in Santa Monica, and going to the Venice training, and my friend just told me, man, if they can do it, we could do it. It was actually
wow.
kind of broad to me, but I did have these thoughts prior to that I felt like it was meant for something like bigger, something.
Bigger.
That's why I never really cared. I was like a little outsider. I was like a loner. I never, like, my friends when they went out, 17 years old, they go out and girls, and go into these places, and I never really did that. I was kind of isolated. I was thinking of something different and more. And then maybe that's how, again, the attraction. Maybe this friend now suddenly was attracted to me and told me, we should try something like this, and I kind of thinking about it. It was like, first it's big, so it's kind of shocking. But then I'm thinking about it a little bit more, and I says, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I started studying more, and we both did, studying in America, and what we could do here, for living, and these jobs about going on plantation or picking up fruits and vegetables, because that was like you could get that anywhere $5 an hour, because who's gonna offer you work if you come here without work permit, So we tried to study all these things where we could sleep, like shelters and Salvation Armies, just in case, because you move here, you don't have nothing, you don't know nobody, so you need to have like a backup plan where you're gonna be, right?
Yeah.
So we were doing all that, and then we learned the language. I got up books, same thing. My friends went to the movie, and I was studying language, trying to learn what I could, And
You've had no formal training as far as English is concerned.
No, just got the books and just work on the books, But
again, inspiring.
that's just because I felt that, That's where it's like you cannot really create. It's gonna be in you. It feels like it's in there, And then you just profound that with additional, action and more positive thoughts, It's like
keep talking. That's the thing, though, Z, is that push, that thought of you have it in here, because for so long it's like I have it in here. Application. What makes you apply it? What made you sit down when all of your friends are going out and studying? What made you do that?
Just follow this voice that's in you telling you to do that, It's you have the thought, inspiring thought, then you just don't delay, just act on it. Once you have that inspiring thought, just go and act on it.
That was it. On your Facebook you have make choices and don't look back. Why that quote?
It's just like I said. Yeah, perfect. It's like you have that inspiring thought. You have what everybody else. You have it. I have it. Everybody has a choice.
Yes.
Now you make the choice. That you feel. That you have, and you're thinking about it. And then act on it. Don't look back. That's what you were meant to do. That was meant for you. You found who you want to be and what you want to do,
And
it won't just be like a nice, pleasant walkway, You're gonna go through thorns, and you're gonna go through, pain and all these. I had a lot of ups and downs, I was on my knees. I thought I was done. Many times I wanted to go back to my country, because I thought I was gonna make it. Well, it happened a couple times. I was back 10 years ago, and I had maybe the first time was. It's just like when you move to a different country, you have to understand that it's gonna be a new culture, new habits, new tradition,
Yeah.
new language, new currency. Food is different. People's habits are gonna be different. It's all gonna be like you have to adapt. Otherwise, if you don't adapt, then I've seen that many times. My friends that they just didn't last. They went back because they could not adapt. In that country, it's gonna be so different. And then once you finally adapt, then you have this thing about, okay, well, I was born over there and I grew up there for 20 years. So the country is going to become a big part of you. It's in your heart. You can never crush it. So now you're getting that little homesick, I'm missing being there. I'm missing the streets I used to walk or going to the river, and certain places that were my favorite that kept me, positive and peaceful. And you start missing that. So I think that's where what I had was just like everybody, homesick. You want to go back and just kind of take a little break and just I would always like re-energized,
What
refreshed.
re-energized you?
Well,
Now, when you started feeling
what
that.
I'm doing right now.
Really?
This bodybuilding, it's competing and inspiring other people, and getting these good feedbacks. And so when you get a good feedback, I want to do more.
Yeah.
It's just I don't really get anything. I don't get any like a financial reward, but just getting somebody's send you a note, like you say it, it helped me. That's enough. That re-energizes me.
Yes.
It gives me the power. Now I'm happy.
Yes. I mean, and that's a big reason why. I mean, when you do YouTube, if you get, I don't even really know how it works, but if you get so much of this or so much of that or so many likes or something like that, you start getting revenue from that. That's not even my focus. My focus is this. One, me being able to give back to somebody and somebody can be able to give back to me, and then maybe through both of us giving back to somebody else. I mean, that you said earlier about, you get this feeling inside of you and you know what you need to do. And I've been an in-home daycare provider. My dream, I know this is sad, but it's not sad.
Your dream, what was it?
I was a little girl. All I ever wanted to do with my life was become a wife and a mom. That's all I wanted. And when I got divorced, I was like, I don't know who I am. I mean, I was a mom at age 19. I didn't have, the oath things, for lack of better terminology. So, and it was hard. It's like you said. I mean, and it wasn't until earlier, last year, earlier last year, that I realized this is what I want to do. I want to be able to give back to people. Obviously, I have to have another job, but this is something that I have a huge passion. The things that I want to fulfill for me this year are getting my certification for personal trainer and becoming a life coach. And for you,
that's your goals. That's important. You need to have those goals. You need to have those goals and set something in your mind, too. It's like not having a goal. A person don't have any goals. That's like, it's like a sin. It's really like.
I agree with that.
You're like
I agree with
dead. Like what a reason to wake up in the morning, and do all your things. You think about that goal. It can be bodybuilding. It could be like you want to be a coach, trainer, a good parent. Just like I'm gonna set my mind to have these goals, and you have to. You cannot live without goals.
So when you first came here, you're talking about trials and tribulations, and I'm sorry if I interrupted you, but you thought about wanting to go home, and the fact of your dream is what stopped you?
See, that was like an oblivion for a little short time where sometimes, you get just overwhelmed with, because let's face it, you still have life. You have to go through everyday life and you meeting people, you with people that don't have the same desires like you and this. Even though I'm thinking, how did these people appear in my life? You know, I just wanted this, but maybe I did that again with my thinking, and I wasn't focused. You know, I lost my focus, and now I had this confusion. You know, now I was like on a strange path when I was like lost. So I lost myself, like within myself. You know, I forgot about my goal, forgot my dream. You know, I was just doing all this, you know, back and forth, my country back here, and it's was until 2010 when I said I'm gonna get back. 2009, I got back to training again, you know, and I started doing the bench press, like training with the guys, because I was doing also powerlifting for a long time, and that got no help me, you know. I started getting more on track, and but it was mostly about heavy lifting, you know. I didn't have that dream about becoming bodybuilding yet. It was kind of like still sitting there, but it was not. It
And
was
this
like
was 2010?
2010. It was like in a coffin, you know, sitting there hiding.
Right.
And then when that injury happened, I think that that was the wake up call, because when that happened, then I'm thinking, now what? You know, this I don't know if I'm gonna be able to lift heavy again, you know, anything like that. And then
What did the doctors say?
Well, they didn't give me any like you know, you can lift, you know, you can lift anymore. They were just wanted to make sure that I'm healthy and good, you know, and I didn't really talk to them because something else during the recovery mode, something else happened where actually my friend Sean Franco and my wife Maggie, we like went out, you know, talking and about everything, and they said, why don't you just go back to bodybuilding, you know? And it was like this God sent message, you know, this was the wake up call. It's right there. And I'm like, well, you know what, I did it before because I've already bodybuilding competitions before, and then I stopped and I just, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna try it. So I found this show. It was 9 weeks, you know, I was completely out of shape, terrible, you know, over 40 inches waist and overweighted because I didn't really follow through my nutrition all that good. I just lifting heavy and eating whatever, you know, staying happy. And so I had to get back on track, you know, thinking what I've done in the past, you know, my diet, my cardio and everything like that. It was only 9 weeks to get ready.
Now, did you have a coach before 2010?
Never. I didn't have anybody coaching me. I was just like training with people, you know, and learning from this and that.
You've never had
never had a coach until 2015, like a prep coach. That was Matt Porter. He was my first prep coach in 2015, and then I was with him in 2014 as well. But never before that.
Here in Omaha?
Here in the States.
Oh,
but he doesn't, he doesn't. He lived in Oregon.
Oh, okay.
We could work online.
Okay.
So I sent him pictures. He was sending me diets and training and stuff like that. But I never had a coach like here in Omaha. But I managed to do that show. You know, it was good. I enjoyed it. And suddenly, like, boom, you know, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. So now I want to do more. And I was already on track. Now I was, you know, getting out of that oblivion and being lost. I saw the light. Now it refreshed to me, and started going back again. Another show. It's like, you wanted to become professional bodybuilder. You know, the only way to do that, you have to enter nationals. You know, you have to enter national NPC national competition. That's how you obtain your pro card. You cannot be professional without winning the national contest.
But don't you have to? But isn't there? How does that go?
Well, first you enter a show, you know, then you enter like a regional show, which is a national qualifier.
Okay.
You qualify for the nationals, you have to place top 2 in your weight class. You qualify for nationals, and then you win your nationals, your weight class, or you win the overall. There's like a couple different NPC nationals, you know, that you can go to enter and win your pro card. So I started just since 2012. I was just entering the NPC nationals, you know. Every year, you know, 12 I failed, you know, 12 I didn't do it, 13 I didn't, 14 I didn't, 15, 2015 finally I got it. I won, and then got my pro card, you know, and then just I started doing these little videos. I just didn't really have any, like you said, you know, I didn't have a big purpose like revenue or something. I just gonna do it and throw it out there.
Yes.
You know, I didn't expect nothing. And then I see these comments and people say, what?
Yes.
So I gotta just do more, you know. I started doing all these videos and I post them on Facebook and people love it. So I'm like, good, that's great. Just keep doing that, you know. It's whatever you do like this is gonna come back to you. So
That's what I do. That's what I did. One night after I asked you about it, I started watching your videos, and brat number 1, brat number 2.
Yeah, it's daughter and her boyfriend. No, it's actually now it's ex-boyfriend. They just split up. So.
So you have how many kids?
One.
Oh, one
daughter.
Mm-hmm. Aww. And
then I have one stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
But she lives here. She used to be California. Lives in California, and then she moved here. She lives in Council Bluffs. So.
How old are they?
My stepdaughter is 2021 or 2021. Yeah, my daughter is 15. Yeah, it's starting everything, but you just gotta be the strong parent, you know. That's what I'll know that what I'm doing also reflects on her, you know, because kids will always mimic, you know, parents what they do. So
what they see,
do the right thing, and they'll follow through. It helps them. You know? It's more important to give them the confidence and security. You know, it's like, wow, this is my dad, this is my mom, you know, and so
if they can do it, then
I'm so happy because it was, you know, with mine growing up it was okay, but it was a little bit different, you know. It's
how was it different? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, it's, you know, I had my mom. She was very strict, you know, and very strict. So I couldn't do anything bad, and I had to be a perfect example for everybody in the neighborhood. And if I misbehaved and, you know, did something in the school, and they would always leave a little note, you know, he's sassy, he's this and that. I would always be punished, you know, for that. In Europe, it was allowed. Like here in the States, I know the corporal punishment is not allowed.
No.
I think we can do a little bit, but you can't do anything crazy. So, but that's what we received, and you know, so it was very strict. You know, I had a regime actually. I was like a military type of a thing. Wake up this time, you know, you go to school, you come back, you do your homework. You don't go nowhere until your homework is done. Then my mom, you know, when I did my homework, she wanted to make sure that I did that I just like, so she quizzed me for everything I learned. So she took the books. She's like, okay, tell me this. She would ask me these random questions just to make sure I did my homework.
Okay, you guys listening to this?
I did my study, you know. So me and my sister, we were always quizzed. So it was Monday through Friday. The weekend was easy because there was no school, so we kind of didn't have to do that. But Monday, Friday, you know, we study, and there was a certain time we had to go to sleep. You know, like to me it was 7:30. You know, I had to be in the bed. We could not going outside 6 o'clock. I had to be back home. You know, ready for the dinner. It was everything was strict. You know, and my stepdad was a good man, but you know there was a.
Yeah, when did he come into play?
When I was 5. You know, that's when my dad passed and died, and I was like 6 years old, I believe, when he met my mother. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know how they met, but because, like I said, there was no internet those days. You know, there was just like maybe some coincidence somewhere, even though they were from different cities. You know, my mom was here, he was there, so I don't know how they. Maybe ads in the newspaper. Some of the people, you know, put
have you ever
ads.
thought to ask her?
Well, probably have to. I'm thinking about it. Yes. How did you guys even meet? Tell me that after 43 years.
Maybe
after 43, I'm gonna finally ask. How did you guys even meet? But it was.
How was your relationship with him? Because I
good.
I grew up with step parents.
It was okay. You know, it's. But there was a lot of. It was a kind of like the, what do you call that? Obsessive compulsive disorder, I think. Perfect. Everything has to be perfect, you know. So my answers had to be perfect, you know. What I did had to be perfect, and if I didn't, you know, he was very like, he didn't have the patience, so he would always slip, and you know, he would hit me. So if I did something wrong, you know, if I answered something wrong, it was like, you know, sometimes I didn't make a good sense, you know, and he thought I was doing that on purpose, like I would be disrespecting him, you know, and stuff like that. So it was like making a fool out of me, and I got, you know, I got my, So then anyway, there was some drinking involved, you know, and it was a little bit rough, but all for all, I know he wanted to be a good man, and
how did you get through that?
Through what?
Through that, all of that.
You just like, you know, adapt. I guess that's maybe it came from my childhood. You know, I was just learning to adapt to everything.
Did you?
I never really thought of.
How did you
I actually thought it's normal. It's part of everything, you know. I never thought it was wrong. Until I got like 14, 15, you know, I'm thinking, why am I still getting this punishment, you know? It's like...
Wow, that is... I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Because being in the Czech Republic, like you said, that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, that's not okay.
But I never knew that. I never knew about, you know, where it's not. My friends almost they're getting the same. Mm-hmm. You know, some of them didn't. You know, some friends didn't have any chores, and I had some friends I used to go to their place and was like, "Oh my God, your place is a mess. What is this? You know, you never had to do anything. You know, my mom would never allow me to leave a little toy here on the carpet. I had to clean everything up always.
Yeah,
everything had to be perfect and cleaned. I was like, do you have to do anything?"
Yes.
I was like thinking like, this is weird. How come you? I was like getting jealous.
This is not fair.
Yeah. I was like, how come you have it? I don't.
So I mean, how did you let go of that?
But I would say that actually I'm thankful, and you know, for all this, because I think those strict bringing up made me the man I am today.
Made you strict and being
your able to adapt and being strong and disciplined and everything, you know. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, yeah. And I'm
because my
very
friends,
similar.
to be honest with you, that I've witnessed, that I just talked about earlier, about their mess, their room is a mess, they don't have to clean anything. I know where they are now. You know, they're in the dump hole. They're just junkies. They're losers. You know, they're totally washed out. So please, parents, educate your kids. Make them do chores. Make them do everything strictly without any excessive punishment. But
exactly. Okay, his wonderful wife, Maggie.
No.
No? Okay.
No, I don't like to be in the...
That's all right. If you want to come around, you can just sit right here. Nobody can see you.
Yeah, but I get nervous when she's here.
Yeah.
Oh.
He gets,
But I'm going to have to use it really... Can you pause this?
Yeah, I can definitely pause it. 1 second.
Use the restroom really fast.
Hey YouTube, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I do appreciate that. I do want to apologize. We did come back and we recorded a few more minutes. Actually, those minutes were directed towards answering questions that my viewers asked, but due to some technical difficulties, the sound didn't record it. But having said that, Z and I actually decided to turn his segments into episodes. So I'm going to have the pleasure of following him through this year, through his bodybuilding competition and any other ventures that may come up into his life. If you remember correctly, in the getting to know you portion, he and his family are going to be possibly going back home. And I may ask to see if I can get some footage or something like that from his visit back home. And I do want you guys to know that he will be competing in St. Louis. I believe he's 10 weeks out from that particular IFBB competition. And he's also going to be competing in May in Ontario, Canada, I believe. The other thing that I wanted you guys to know is Z is a trainer, and he does have openings available. So what I would like to do is have you guys contact him if you're interested in programs or anything of that nature that he may be able to provide you. And I will place his information not only in the bottom, but also at the end of this particular video on how to contact him. We're going to be doing another episode probably in a couple of weeks, if not sooner, depending upon, our schedules and what have you. And as soon as I know, I will let you guys know. But thank you again for taking the time to listen to his inspirational story. And just remember, guys, BS, no excuse. Subscribe, like, comment, and you got this. Take care, guys.